what can you do to help people along that are in the similar space. The thing I hang my hat on is 2 words: enable entrepreneurship. That's where the purchase decision happens, because people will buy for people that look like them. You're holding up the mirror.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Smart Marketer Podcast. It's the content coordinator, Zach Dampier here. As you can see, we are wrapping up Smart Marketer Live here in Denver, Colorado, and we are here with the one and the only Kurt Elster. Kurt, what do you think about the event so far? Well, at the end, how do you think about the event?
Well, we're at the end, and you know what? I really enjoyed it. I gained a bunch of perspective on meta ads advertising. It's not something I do in my everyday, but it's something I'm adjacent to. And so like that content was really helpful to me for perspective and for being able to advise clients on strategy. And then today, just like a wealth of different skills represented, including hiring. I'm like, I didn't think I needed this. And then I ended up taking pictures.
Right. Yeah, you never know what you'll end up finding, and you don't know what you need till you find it.
But like today, man, it bookended so nicely. We started the day, Nick Shackelford, Shaq. You know, I love him on Twitter. Getting to hear him speak live is always fun. And then like really powerful stuff. And then ending with my friend B. Brody from Tactical Baby Gear, who like, I didn't even know half his backstory. And so hearing it here was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so obviously you've been around Smart Marketer for a while. You've been in some of the courses, a lot of our blog content. For anybody who's just now tuning in for Smart Marketer, just now seeing you for the first time, just give them a little bit of background in your career and also kind of how your careers crossed paths with Smart Marketer and Ezra along the way.
You know, I've been working on Shopify for over a decade now. And as part of that, I started the Unofficial Shopify Podcast. It's got millions of downloads. And that's, you end up with being a content creator and influencer, especially on D2C Twitter. You end up with these parasocial relationships.
Absolutely.
And Ezra's one of them. And I'd seen him, I'm like, what's up with this dude? I'm like, is he for real?
Right.
I was skeptical. And then I met him in person. I've been to his house. I'm like, oh no, that's really him.
No,
he's 100% authentic. But no, I invited him to talk on my podcast about Black Friday. And he laid out the strategy and, ended up being a fan favorite, of course.
Of course.
And that's how we met. And then I, ended up doing work for him on Boom, and some of his other brands, got to make courses for Smart Marketer. But the fun is like that team, that Smart Marketer team, the people. They're always fun to hang out with.
Absolutely.
Always cool to fly out and hang out.
Definitely. That's funny that you said that because one of my roles is I do kind of discovery calls for people who are looking for what course would fit their needs the best. Usually along the way, I recommend either smart paid traffic if they really want to dive into Facebook, or I recommend smart eCommerce if they need it all. And so I feel like more often than not, I'm scrolling down the smart eCommerce landing page, going through the instructions, and I'm like, and this is Kurt Elster, and he is the Unofficial Shopify Podcast. Everything Shopify, he knows, so he makes sure that your product page, I feel like I pitch you more than I even pitch the rest of the Smart Marketer content on the course, but I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about.
We went so hard on product detail page, PDP, but that's where the purchase decision happens. It may take a few days, a few emails for them to click buy, but when they clicked add to cart, that's when they're like, I want this. They raise their hand. And so that PDP, I think, is so important. And we focused on that so much in the course, that really became the value.
Diving into some of the content that was covered here, what would be the number one strategy or takeaway from any of the roundtables that you were a part of?
Oh, the roundtable. Well, I hosted a roundtable, hosted 2 of them, and it was interesting to hear how many successful Amazon sellers desperately want to bolt Shopify onto that business to reduce reliance on Amazon.
Right, that makes sense.
It's like, they validate and scale the business on Amazon and then immediately become terrified of it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's great, but also let's hedge our bets.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it was interesting. I ended up with a table. It felt like of people all in that position, and they're like, it's this new beast where they're trying to scale on Shopify and, kind of learning that in addition to Amazon, as opposed to the other way around.
Right.
I normally have people who are successful on Shopify and they're like, hey, we're going to add Amazon as a channel.
Throw it on at the end.
Yeah. And so interesting to hear that.
Yeah.
A lot of the advantage of Smart Marketers, the community, is the networking. And e-commerce is a lonely business, right? A lot of it is you're working from home in your pajamas, which that sounds cool. But by month 12, you're like, man, I would really like to talk to another human.
Absolutely.
In person. And so, a lot of that roundtable was just people in similar positions getting to talk to other people who like truly get it and can sympathize.
Right.
And there was a catharsis in that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was like, wow, that's like for them, a lot of that value was just like having someone else go, well, yeah, I hear that. I see you.
That's how I felt with my table for social media, because I run the social media in my content coordinator role. So I had a few of them that I could tell were like, they were just a social media manager. They weren't looking to run the socials for their own business. And being able to relate to them and be like, listen, I promise followers, it's a nice metric to look at. It's shiny. It's such a vanity metric anymore. It's not nearly as important as anything else with how the algorithm works now. So I'm sure you're getting pressure from whoever's above you about how to increase that. Just know, and if you have to say that you learned this at the event, that is not where your focus needs to be. And that's not where the success for you all as a company is going to be at. It's nice to look at, but don't make that be the end all be all. It's just like the ROAS. Shooting for an 8 ROAS, and then you just cut your spend so far that you're not capitalizing on anything you could.
You know, what's funny, the other thing I didn't realize, the amount of creative content that the meta algorithm demands today.
Yeah. Especially with the new Andromeda update.
Like I knew it always went back to creative would be like the cornerstone of success with ads, but just the level of output.
Yeah.
You know, to make it work. Or like even if you have a successful ad, now you eventually max out the avatar. And so, like, now what do you do? And then it really blew my mind to hear that diversity in ad creative often meant literally, like, different-looking people. Because people will buy for people that look like them. Exactly. You're holding up the mirror. And so, you know, these founder-led brands unintentionally attract people who look like them.
Absolutely.
And, you know, no fault of their own. So it's like, hey, if you got this ad that works here, maybe try that again, but with someone who doesn't look like you.
That's funny, because that's another thing that we talked about a lot in our roundtable. And I was like, you know, just like you said, people want to buy from people that look like them. And it's easy to get in kind of that echo chamber of you're usually in a community of people that are very similar to you. So sometimes it's hard to find the people that can branch and reach a different audience, but it's well worth it in multiple ways to put in the effort to do that.
And to be clear, I don't think it's anything anyone intentionally does.
Right, of course.
I think it's just like it's the nature of humans.
Yes, absolutely. What do you think is one of the big mistakes that you've seen, maybe from a lot of business owners here or just in general, that you've seen pretty often? It's a frequent mistake that can be eliminated pretty quickly or easily.
All right, I'm going to give you the easy answer and like the hard to swallow answer. Right. The easy answer is there are always like little issues on your site that you have quickly forgotten about, but that just add up to a like not polished experience for the customer. And that's kind of the stuff that eats into a conversion funnel. And number one is got to be forgot to style the checkout in Shopify. It's like, man, that's where they're putting in their credit card details. And it's just like Helvetica store name. You can upload your logo, you can set your branding colors and typography, you can make it look like your brand. I have seen every size of website skip that. It takes, like, when I have to set that, it's like 5 minutes and I'm done, right? I'm like, man, just do it. That's the easy one. The hard one, I think, that I learned talking to people, especially you get a few drinks in them at the after party.
Right.
And a lot of these businesses, it takes time to get up to speed, to figure it out, and then to like get to a place where you acquire customers profitably through ads. And to get there, to develop the product, to be able to develop the creative and get the ad spend, to figure it out, they took out loans. And so you hear all these success stories online of these really successful business. Not one of them is going to tell you about their debt. Right. And now they got to service that debt. And it's like you're running this marathon, but now you got weights on. Yeah. And I just think it's important to recognize, like, when you're comparing yourself to the highlight reel of social media, they're not telling you everything, right? And that's part of it.
I feel like that with business and even just life in general, I feel like credit card debt is just as prevalent as like the business loans along 100%. The way. And like you said, it's hard because you see people taking these trips, living this lavish lifestyle. And yeah, I mean, you never know where it's coming from, if it's just weighing themselves down further and further to keep up that image or not. But the easy solution, I like that. So I'm going to go back to that one. And that's actually super actionable and probably the most different mistake that has been brought up in any of these interviews so far. So that's really cool. And I appreciate you bringing that to light, which makes sense that you're the one that thinks of that for sure.
It is, yeah. It's just like this common mistake, and it's funny because like you'll see like, you know, a huge brand like Mattel, like, and not them specifically, but like that level of brand. I've seen them do it, you know, and mom and pop still, like everybody at some point, it's like, oh yeah, I should style the checkout.
I was gonna give you a second to brag on yourself. So brag on you, your podcast, anything you want to. Tell us about a recent win or just a big success that you all have had.
All right, am I lucky? Are you a baseball fan?
I don't keep up. I'm decent.
You ever listen to John Boy?
I know who they are.
Okay, yeah.
I believe they are actually Smart Marketer students.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure that I've seen that email in one of our orders.
It might be. This guy, Patrick. Yeah, John Boy Media is this big podcast network around baseball. They had a merch store, and we got lucky, knew a guy, and we got to build a custom theme for their merch store. What's so cool about it, it doesn't run any apps, so it is crazy fast.
Oh, not bad.
And so that's fun. And then we do a cool trick where we have totally different branded templates, but in one store. And so it like changes, if you're looking at a merch store from a different show that they have, it could change the look entirely. And I just thought that was the neatest thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like a little bit of creative customization, but now that we know how to do it, it's not that hard.
I would assume they have different shows for the different teams? Or
no, they do like Warehouse Games, they do like their own goofy series.
Right, okay.
We got Ice, John Boy Media, like there's a couple different,
right.
And then Slashline, they do like 3 or 4 different styles of brand apparel, and then like the different shows get categorized into those. But yeah, no, we got to design and develop a custom theme that their store runs, and that recent win, it's exciting.
And then you kind of mentioned this earlier, talking about, the entrepreneur life, being able to just work from home, stay in the PJs all day, and it sounds nice at first. What's something that really like motivates you and keep you going day in and day out when a lot of the stuff that we do is so abstract, you can never really get the feeling of accomplishment of like building something?
It's such a good point. Yeah, with digital work, there's nothing you finished, right? Like there's a sense of completion if I build a Lego set because I could pick it up and show it to you. With digital work, there's nothing there. There is no physical output. The thing I hang my hat on is 2 words: enable entrepreneurship. If I can do that with my content, with my efforts, speaking, or the work, then I'm happy, right? And then like the other thing I want to do is just maintain independence. When I was a kid, I saw my dad get laid off, and he struggled to work after that. And he used to say, like, man, if you're your own boss, you can't get fired. And it stuck with me. From then on, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and so I just always tried to maintain that independence. And so it's like, there are things that aren't great about being an entrepreneur, like that loneliness, or you being in charge of everything, right? There's a lot of stress that comes with that. But then, having that total independence, that freedom of choice, that's empowering. Like, that feels good. And so, like, knowing that you have that, man, sometimes that's enough for me. Knowing that you're helping people in the process and then gaining your own independence. Wow, that's quite the flywheel that really motivates. And ultimately, like, if you really want to make it granular, when I open there's some days where I don't have anything scheduled. I open my inbox, and it's just like, here's a series of problems to solve. And it's fun it's like creative solutions with automation, marketing automation, Shopify theme liquid. And when you figure out something fancy, it's a lot of fun. And then you get to go, like, if you have an audience, you go share that's content. It works.
Yeah, I feel like the enable entrepreneurship is really similar to our motto of serve the world unselfishly and profit. And we have been asking everybody, what does that kind of mindset mean to you as somebody connected to the community? And how do you kind of see that? You already kind of touched on and mirror that within your own lifestyle and your own business.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is that enabling that entrepreneurship. It's just always going back to that core, what can you do to help people along that are in the similar space? Like, I have just this domain expert authority knowledge about Shopify and running an online store. So anytime I find something that is interesting, helpful, I turn around, synthesize that into like, all right, what is my understanding of this? Post that as content, and then I get that, you get the dopamine hit, like the notification, and so liked it, got retweeted and replies, and then like that starts that conversation that helps kind of repair that lack of like physical connection with being, having a small business that you own. I don't know, I still love it. I've been doing this over 15 years. And like, I'm still in love with it. That's incredible, isn't it?
It is.
You think I'd burn out by now?
Yeah, I feel like that's really what a lot of people hope for in their life is they don't know what they want to do. They just know that they want to enjoy what they do. So being able to do the same thing for 15 years. Obviously, e-com's changed so much, but it's still...
Well, and that's what keeps it interesting. Is like the challenge of the whole thing, it's always evolving. But it's funny you mentioned like not knowing what you want to do. Like I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Then I started an e-commerce platform and I joined a local chamber of commerce. And I knew I wanted to be a pillar of my community. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew I wanted it. And then we found this thing called Shopify and we hitched our cart, to the right horse at the right time. There's that luck aspect to this. It's like, yeah, I'm successful, but it's because I found Shopify and doubled down on it at the right time. And so I got lucky there. There's a little bit of that luck. And then from there, it's like, all right, now I've got a platform. Now I have a mission. Now I have a thing. And I just applied what felt right. And it was that like, be a community leader. And so you can't go negative on content and try and help entrepreneurs. And then Shopify is this entrepreneurial platform, and it all just worked.
Well, I appreciate your time, Kurt. I don't want to take up the whole welcome party for you, but thanks so much for sitting down with me. Everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, on the podcast, leave us a review, and thanks so much, and see you all in the next video.